Morning, everybody, and happy Thursday. It's going to be a terrific Thursday because you have to make it terrific. Um, so make sure you have something to write with and something to write on. We do have some problems to work on today. So pause this video if you need to and grab what you need to be successful. And here we go. So today's focus, we're working with volume, but now we're kind of extending it. And we're going to talk about composite volume or total volume, right? So it's when you have like a wonky looking rectangular prism, okay? And how do you find out the volume of something like that? So we're not going to talk about how to solve it yet, but I just want you to pause and do your best. What do you think the volume of this rectangular prism would be? So go ahead and pause it, solve it the best way you can. Remember, it's okay to struggle. And then when you're done, once you've tried it, unpause it and we'll go through it. Okay. So we don't have a special formula or a special equation to solve something like this, right? But what we can do is we can break it down into normal shapes that we know how to find the volume for. And that's exactly what we're going to do. So there's two different ways you could have gone about it. There's a whole bunch of different ways. I'm going to talk about two different ways. Okay? So I could have broken it right here. I'm going to do my best to draw straight lines. Okay? Because now I see that this here, that's a normal rectangular prism. I know how to solve for volume of that. And same with this one. I know how to solve for the volume of this. This would be a 2 by 4 by 1, right? And this would be a 2 by 3 by 4. So now I just find the volume of both of these. And 4 times 3 times 2, well, 4 times 3 is 12, times 2 is 24. And then 2 times 4 times 1 would be 2 times 4 is 8, times 1 is 8. So now I add these together, which would give me 32 for the total volume. Now, if I were to write an equation for this, I would do pretty much exactly what I did up here, right? I would have 4 times 3 times 2, and I might even put that whole thing in parentheses because that's one volume, plus 2 times 4 times 1, which equaled 32. Okay? So I'm going to move this straight up here for right now, just give myself some room. And I'll go ahead and kind of box this out so our work doesn't get separated. So that's one way you could have done it, right? Now, another way you could have done it is broken it here, right? And these are just two ways that I thought about breaking this up. And I'm sure you guys had a lot of other creative ways that still got a volume of 32, which is fantastic. And I'm not saying these are the only two ways. These are just two of the ways. This is one of those conversations that would be really cool to have in class because we get to see how everyone's thinking about it. But unfortunately, you're stuck with just listening to me think about it. So, and now I just go solve for the volume, right? So this would be a 2 by 4 by 2. And then, let's go with purple. This would be a 4 by 1 by 4. Okay? So my equation would be 4 times 4 times 1, oops, plus 4 times 2 times 2. So then 4 times 4 times 1 would be 16. 4 times 2 would be 16, which equals 32 again. So either way you slice it, you get 32. Any way you solved for the volume here, y'all, you should have ended up with 32. If not, reevaluate what you did, how you did it. Not saying it's a wrong strategy, but we just need to tweak it if you didn't get 32. All right, so if you need to pause the video and think about that one, go for it. So now let's go on and try this one again. Hit the pause button, solve it however you need to. Remember, break it into its own part. Find the total volume here. So again, 2 ways I thought about this one, very similar to last time. But I would break it here, okay? And then this would be a 2 by 2 by 4. This would be a 2 by 4 by 3, because there's 3 layers here, right? Even though there's only 2 layers here, there's 3 here. So then 2, my equation, 2 times 2 times 4, parentheses, that is not a 41, that is a 4, plus 2 times 4 times 3. Only I could write it as fast as I could say it. And then 2 times 2 times 4 would be 16, right? 2 times 2 is 4 times 4 is 16. Oops, I forgot my parentheses here. And then 2 times 4 is 8 times 3 is 24. So then 16 plus 24 would be equal to 40. So volume there's 40. Now the other way I thought about solving it was cut this here, right? Make this a 1 by 4 by 1, and make this a 4 by 2 by 4. So then 4 times 1 times 1, parentheses, plus 4 times, not plus, that's a times, times 4 times, times 2, right? So then 4 plus 4 times 4 is 16 times hold on. Sorry. Oops. Maybe you caught me. I didn't catch myself. This should have been a 2. So this should be an 8. So then it's 8 plus 32 to get 40 again. Okay? All right, so when we have these cubes, right, when we can see all the cubes, we can come up with all these cool, creative ways to do it. Like for this one, for instance, I've seen people, they say, okay, I'm going to make this a 4 by 4 by 3 all the way around, right? And then I'm going to, so 4 by 4 by 3, that would be a 48. And then like how we're missing these 8 cubes here. Like, okay, now I'm going to subtract 8 and get 40. Maybe that's the way you thought about it. I don't know. When we can see the cubes, like we can be creative with that. But now I want to try one where we can't see the cubes, okay? So go ahead and solve for this volume. Hit pause, solve it, and then when you're ready, come back. Okay, so this one you don't have that creative approach that we like to see in math, right? This one's kind of just more like clear cut. Here's your two shapes. Find the volume, right? So 7 times 2 times 2. 7 times 2 is 14. Times 2 is 28. So 7 times 2 times 2. And I'll put that in parentheses because, right, we want to show these equations. Plus. Big key here, do not multiply. Make sure you're adding these volumes together, not multiplying. 2 times 2 times 5. And then, what do we say this was? 28 plus 20 equals 48. And because they give us these centimeters, the way we would write this with units would be centimeters to the third power. Okay? So this would be my final answer. So today's activity is a practice sheet on Schoology, all with composite volume things. Please, when you're doing these, guys, I don't just want to see your answer on the paper. Okay, I want to see your work. I want to see an equation. Okay, I want to see what's happening, because if you have the answer and it's wrong, I can't help you out. Just like in class, we need to see the work. We need to see the equation so that we know what's going on. Okay. I have office hours today from 1 to 2. If you have questions about anything, please feel free to come. It's been nice getting to see your faces as you've been coming. And I hope you all enjoy your Thursday. That's it for today, y'all. I hope you have a great day. Enjoy.